Hi, welcome back to Masechet Ta'anit Daf Chet Amud Aleph. We're starting a little more than midway down the daf, where we left off. Amar Reish Lakish, Mai Dichtiv Im Yeshuch HaNachash, Im Yeshuch HaNachash B'lo Lachash Ve'in Yitron L'Baal HaShom. This pasuk that we saw before about if the snake bites before the snake charmer can whisper to it, then there's no advantage to the snake charmer. So what is the meaning of that pasuk? We've already seen other meanings proposed, but here's a new one. In the future, in messianic times, all of the animals will come together before the nachash, before the snake. Ve'omrim and they'll say to him, Ari dores ve'ochal. A lion tramples its prey and then eats it. Ze'ev toref ve'ochal. And a fox tears its prey up and eats it. Ata ma hana'ah yesh lecha. But you, what benefit, what pleasure do you have? Meaning, the idea is the snake just gets to bite something and kill it, but it can't actually eat the thing that it kills when it's very large. Amar lahem, ve'ein yitron l'baal halashon. And the snake says back to them, yes, but there's no advantage to the Baal Halashon, so no advantage for the one who speaks Lashon Hara. Presumably a reference back to how the snake came to be the snake as we know it to begin with. The snake said negative things about Adam to Chava and then about both of them afterwards. So this pasuk is sort of reread as a conversation between the snake and the other animals. Amar Rabbi Ami, Ein tfilato shel adam nishmat ela im ken masim nafsho b'kapo. A person's prayer isn't heard until or unless the person literally sort of puts their soul in their hands, or sort of offers up their soul. It has to be a very complete prayer. Shene Amar, Nasal Lavenu al Kapayim. As it says in this pasuk from Eicha, that we sort of carried our hearts in our hands. Ini, is this really true? Veha ukim Shmuel amora alei. But didn't Shmuel have a Meturgaman speak about this pasuk? V'darash, or about this subject, I should say. V'darash, and he explains, V'yivtu b'fihem u'b'lshonam yichazvulo v'libam lo nachonimo v'lo ne'amanu b'brito. That basically this pasuk about how the people were insincere. They tricked them with their mouths and lied to them, and their hearts weren't really in the right place. They weren't really keeping the covenant with God. The Afal Pichen, and even so, it says in Tehillim, that God nonetheless forgives people. So doesn't this prove that you don't really have to be so sincere in your prayer? Lo kasha, kan b'yachid, kan b'tzibor. One is talking about a yachid, and one is talking about the community. Communal prayer is taken very seriously by God, even if it is not offered in as sincere a manner by each individual. Amar Rabbi Ami, Ein gshamim yordin ela bishvil ba'alei amunah. Rain falls only on behalf of or on account of the faithful, those who really have faith, keep promises, etc. Shene'emar, emetz me'eretz titzmach, v'tzedek mishamayim nishkaf. Truth springs up from the ground, and tzedek comes down from the skies. So the idea is when truth comes up from the ground, when people on the ground are really truthful, have this characteristic of emet, of keeping the faith in this way, that's when the metaphor here is that that's when rain will fall. Ve'amar Rabbi Ami, Boreh kama gdolim ba'alei amanah. Come and see how great are those who have this kind of faith. Minayin, how do we know that people who keep promises like this are so great? Micholda ubor, from the story of the Cholda, the weasel, and the pit. Now, apparently, this is a famous folktale, perhaps, not to us maybe, about a man who rescues a woman from a pit, and they fall in love and they get married. And the witnesses for their wedding are a weasel and the pit. And he promises he's going to stay with her always, and then he sort of forgets his promise and goes off and marries another woman and has children with her. They have 2 children, and then both are killed. One falls into a pit and dies, and the other is attacked by a weasel and killed. And somehow the woman he's married, she says, why do you think we've had these crazy deaths in our family? And he tells her the story about the women to whom he'd previously been married and the witnesses. This is apparently sort of like a moralistic fable. And here's the moral. Umaha ma'amin b'chulda ubor kach, right? So if this is what happens to someone who, places their faith in a weasel and a pit, hama'amin b'hakadosh baruch hu alachat kama v'kama. How much more so for one who believes in God, for one who puts their faith in God, and that's where the emunah is directed. Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, Kol matzdik et atzmo milamata, matzdikin alav hadin milamala. Anyone who works really hard to be a good person, who's sort of very careful with their deeds, God is extra careful with their deeds also. It's really sort of mizakzek with them, holds them accountable for even very little things. Shnei amar, emet me'eretz titzmach, v'tzedek mishamayim nishkaf. Again, the same idea, truth springs up from the ground, and then tzedek sort of watches from the sky. So that's the idea of God also being involved in people who are trying to be good. Rabbi Chia bar Avin, amar Rav Huna mehacha. So Rabbi Chia bar Avin quotes Rav Huna as saying, the source for that idea is actually from here. Ukiratcha evratecha. That in accordance with your fear is your sin, something like that. So people who are sort of very strict with themselves about fearing God, God gets angrier at them faster for little things. Reish Lakish amar mehacha. Reish Lakish has a different source for this idea. Pagata asas ve'oseh tzedek b'drachecha yizarchucha hen ata katzafta v'nechta behem olam v'nosha. So same basic idea, that someone's happy, they're joyous, and they're doing all these good things, so then God will get angry at them if they sin. Okay, we'll stop there.